A financial bet of nearly $100 million made behind the scenes of our franchise is dividing the opinion of analysts across the country, being classified by many as the riskiest move of the entire offseason. At the same time, a blazing chemistry between our new playmaker and an elite veteran promises to turn our offense into a points machine, surprising even the most optimistic fans. However, there is a serious problem happening on the offensive line that could jeopardize everything right at the official debut, and almost no one in the media is covering this alarming flaw with the necessary seriousness. I will reveal exactly what this broken piece is shortly in this video, because the information that came from the most recent practices is urgent and requires attention. Before we dive into these crucial details, I ask you to leave your like. It's just a click. The management decided to take a considerable risk by signing a 4-year contract worth a total of $96 million with Odafe Oweh, guaranteeing $68 million on paper. Analyst Bucky Brooks publicly highlighted that this decision brings a high danger margin for the organization, considering the athlete's track record in recent years. During his 5 full seasons in the professional league, the player accumulated 30.5 sacks on opposing quarterbacks while wearing the jerseys of his former teams. When he started his journey in professional American football, the defender was seen as a raw talent that needed a lot of polishing, raising doubts about his actual ability to pressure the opposing offensive line. Now, backed by a heavy financial commitment and tasked with leading a revamped defensive unit, the athlete is trying to prove that critics were completely wrong. General Manager Adam Peters and head coach Dan Quinn decided to bet on the player's physical ability, even fully aware of his fluctuating production history in crucial moments. The athlete's former defensive coordinator found efficient ways to move him along the front line, managing to generate big plays in specific passing situations. Arriving in Washington, the new addition will work with Durante Jones, a professional specialized in the development and movement of secondary coverage athletes. This shift in focus within the coaching staff creates uncertainty about how the line player will be utilized to keep his defensive impact high against the attacks of our division. Despite the doubts raised by specialists, the addition presents excellent metrics exactly where our franchise had the most shortcomings during the last regular season. Last year, the athlete achieved the 10th best success rate in pressuring the quarterback among players at his position, generating 51 total pressures. His ease in winning individual battles against offensive line blockers resulted in 9 direct hits on the quarterback and 31 quick pressures that disrupted the opponent's play rhythm. To have a clear perspective of the impact of this signing, our entire team generated only 33 pressures on the quarterback during the entire campaign last year, recording the second worst number in the entire league. In a postseason game played by his former team, the athlete was on the field for only 25 plays and managed to register 3 spectacular sacks. The player himself stated in a recent interview that he enjoys operating in an aggressive structure with a constant pursuit of the ball, predicting that the new defensive formation will allow considerable disruption in the rival plans. The new defensive element joins Calavon Chason and Dorrance Armstrong to form the main trio tasked with hunting down opposing quarterbacks during this year's matchups. This group of athletes has already shown isolated moments of great technical ability in the past, but now they need to evolve collectively under the new coaching staff. In a division characterized by housing one of the most dynamic and dangerous groups of quarterbacks in the entire circuit, our front line will need to impose respect from the very first moment to force decisive mistakes from opponents. This need to impose dominance on the front line became very evident during the first joint training held against the Miami Dolphins group at our facilities. Before the debut in the preseason games, our franchise used this activity to test the athlete's speed and adjust the execution rhythm under real competition conditions. At various moments during the practice, our team showed impressive physical superiority, dictating the course of the practice both in the defensive sector and in the offensive sector. Even with this visible dominance at several moments of the practice, the coaching staff registered operational flaws that need immediate correction before the official championship round 1. Alignment errors and avoidable penalties demonstrated that there is still a large volume of tactical work to be done with athletes from all sectors. The margin of error against our group's major rivals will be minimal, making each practice session fundamental to consolidate the collective discipline of the team. Adapting to a new offensive system is always a complex and challenging task for any young quarterback in his first year in the professional league. Operating in a scheme that positional demands to be directly behind the center more frequently, it was expected that Jaden Daniels would take longer to process the game concepts. However, the young quarterback demonstrated incredible accuracy in his long throws and a quick read of the opposing defense, exceeding the expectations of the entire coaching staff. Receiver Stephon Diggs had a brilliant performance during the activity, proving that his ability to create separation against defenders remains at the top of the professional level. The young quarterback openly praised the leadership and work ethic of his experienced training partner, highlighting the positive impact his presence generates in the locker room. The chemistry displayed by this duo on the field indicates that our franchise may have found a highly explosive passing connection for the upcoming season. However, The concern regarding the protection of our quarterback must accompany the organization throughout the entire journey of the game calendar. The absence of experienced Laramie Tunsil in the starting blocking rotation continues to generate uncertainties about the stability of the sector against aggressive defenses. While there is confidence in Brandon Coleman's development to take the spot, the difference in rhythm compared to the former starter became evident during the one-on-one matchups that occurred in practice. Young blocker Josh Connerly Jr. faced significant difficulties during the simulations, committing a penalty for movement too early and struggling against the speed of defender Chop Robinson. With the protection sector showing flaws in blocking timing, our rushers found no space to advance through the middle of the defensive formation. Running back Jack Krosky-Merritt had a day of production that was quite limited in terms of yards gained, facing congested lines and little space to accelerate. In contrast to the stagnant performance of the running game, our secondary had moments of great distinction by creating turnovers during the collective practice. Facing the backup quarterbacks of the visiting team, Malik Willis and Quinn Ewers, our coverage unit showed quick reading and a lot of aggression. Young defender Mike Sainristil shone by anticipating a short pass, intercepting the ball, and running into the end zone to record a spectacular play in front of the fans. Veteran Amik Robertson also had a very secure performance during the repetitions, deflecting multiple passes directed to the open targets of the visiting franchise. The aggressive performance of our coverage group brought great signs, demonstrating that the team can generate field victories through turnovers. Despite the enthusiasm generated by this performance, the coaching staff knows that the true test will take place during the scheduled practices against the strong Baltimore Ravens in the coming weeks. This search for answers continued in the 11th session of our training camp, marking the first joint practice held in the recent history of the franchise at our facilities. The opportunity to test the new game plan against athletes from another organization brought a much greater seriousness to the coaching staff's evaluation. The overall balance of the outdoor activity was extremely positive, revealing a very productive aerial attack and a defensive line capable of dominating the opponent's sector. During the complete team repetitions, Daniels once again demonstrated the same composure and precision he had been showing in previous internal practices of the franchise. The athlete completed 12 of the 16 passes attempted in practice, showing absolute comfort in making passing movements while moving out of the protection area. The long connections with Van Jefferson and Terry McLaurin showcased the young quarterback's ability to explore all levels of the field with tactical intelligence. Our organization's group of targets had its best collective performance to date, easily overcoming the individual marking imposed by the opponent's defenders. Diggs was the standout of the morning, creating constant separation in his routes and securing an incredible reception for a touchdown in the end zone. Other names in the sector, such as Treylon Burks and rookie Antonio Williams, also recorded important receptions, demonstrating that the franchise has qualified options to rotate the roster throughout the year. While the aerial attack operated with extreme efficiency, our defensive front caused true chaos in the visiting team's protection sector. Chesson and Owe constantly pressured the opposing quarterback, registering simulated sacks that would have ended multiple drives in an official game. Athlete Darren Payne and young Joshua Josephs also dominated the center blockers, proving that our front rotation has enough strength and speed to disrupt any attack in the league. In the kicking specialist sector, Jake Moody and Drew Stevens made an excellent recovery after a difficult day of practice earlier in the week. Both athletes converted all their field goal attempts, including a perfect finish from 60 yards out at the conclusion of the activity. This healthy competition between the two specialists has kept the demand level high, ensuring that the franchise enters the season with a fully reliable kicker for crucial moments. Despite all the positive points celebrated by the committee, the serious problem in the central part of our offensive line was fully exposed during strength training. Without Nick Allegretti's presence in the middle of the formation, the team simply couldn't create space for the internal running game to function against the opposing defense. The rival defenders easily penetrated through the center of the line, stopping our runners before they could even cross the original line of scrimmage. In addition to the inability to create space for the ground game, the blocking unit made concerning operational mistakes, including early departures from the line and incorrect ball snaps by Matt Golbin. Such errors destroy the rhythm of drives and put our young quarterback in extreme pressure situations against aggressive defenses in the regular season. The front office will need to urgently evaluate the market for available athletes to ensure an experienced reinforcement for the center of our protection before the debut. In light of everything we've seen in these intense training sessions, with a dominant defense and a promising passing attack, but with serious flaws in the middle of the protection, how do you assess the future of our franchise? Do you believe the front office should seek a veteran reinforcement immediately in the market for the offensive line, or will Jaden Daniels' agility be enough to escape the pressure and take us to the playoffs this year?